What do they do? And Peter Dutton is fighting fires on a number of fronts. He's just put out a statement. And this is a statement in relation to that issue, the interests that he and his wife hold through a trust in some childcare centres in Queensland, whether him receiving monies from the Commonwealth in terms of childcare subsidies puts him in breach of Section 44 of the Constitution. He says in this statement, over recent days, a spurious and baseless campaign has been conducted against me in relation to an alleged breach of Section 44 of the Constitution. The timing on the eve of current events in Australian politics is curious. There's never been any doubt about my eligibility to sit in Parliament, and I attach the unequivocal legal advice that I obtained in 2017 to that effect. And I'll just call up that advice for you now. It's actually not that long, and it's one that he says he received back in 2017. And it finally concludes, Mr Dutton cannot have a pecuniary interest in an agreement within the meaning of Section 44 by virtue of the trustee company's receipt of payments under this statutory scheme. So, and it was the issue that we went to when we spoke earlier about this. When you have a business held and operated through a trustee company, does that mean that you, as the beneficiary of the trustee, are in receipt of the monies?
Under the law, under the Constitution, it talks about direct and indirect benefits from this. You can't claim that these claims are spurious when somebody like Brett Walker says that they're not. When somebody like Anne Toomey and George Williams. So it's not spurious. It's certainly up for debate.
Yeah, and I think along the lines of bringing a knife to a gunfight sort of parallels, you know, and not casting aspersions here, the lawyer's name on this document is not, I think it's fair to say, in the same exalted constitutional realms as the other people that we've been quoting this morning. I think by any objective measure, that's a reasonable thing to say.
I do, though, have some sympathy for him around the politics of this because, OK, it came out of a clear blue sky this week. He took advice in 2017, the Labor Party took advice in April this year. They've all been sitting on it and just waiting for the appropriate time for it to let it go.
To drop it, yeah, but that's the nature of politics. So, you know, suck it up, all of you, if you want to play this game. And they are playing a really, really rough game. If you're just joining us on News Breakfast, good morning. Right now, I think Peter Dutton, we're expecting to hear from him. The cameras are gathering furiously. This is where we expect to see and hear from Peter Dutton, the leadership aspirant, the leadership contender, who this morning called on the Prime Minister to hold another party room meeting. The Prime Minister refused, so Peter Dutton is now going to speak to you and speak to the media about what I guess his intentions are. Here's Peter Dutton now.
Okay, everyone, thank you very much for being here this morning. I just wanted to make a couple of brief remarks and then I'm going to address the media later on. As I put out by way of statement earlier this morning, I called the Prime Minister to advise him that it was my judgment that the majority of the party room no longer supported his leadership. As such, I asked him to convene a meeting of the Liberal Party at which I would challenge for the leadership of the Parliamentary Liberal Party. Thank you very much.
You have to pick up. Peter Dutton leaving one of the briefest press conferences we've ever seen. Barry Cassidy is chuckling to himself. Barry?
I just thought he might have had a little more to say than that, but there you go. That's essentially the story, isn't it? I asked for a leadership showdown. I didn't get it, but we'll keep trying.
Well, we all saw that on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I guess it gives the media something to do. It also, as you say, and this is more serious, it keeps that febrile, I use that term deliberately, that febrile mood alive in Canberra. And that's what the aspirants and also the incumbent want. That they need to keep this, well, Peter Dutton in particular needs to keep this alive.
Yeah, look, it's hard to imagine that it'll go on beyond today. You'd think at some point it'll have to come to a showdown, and you'd think they would want it to do this before question time, but it's only a few hours away now.
Well, look, you were mentioning before about just how long a Prime Minister can stand firm in the face of this and repeated calls for him to hold another meeting. Your best guess for today? What do you imagine? Will he crumble today,
It wouldn't be a good look to even let this drift beyond today, would it? I mean, it's clearly, for Peter Dutton to be in this position and to be demanding the showdown, then he's fairly confident that he's got his numbers. He doesn't want to strike twice and lose twice. So I just kept saying irresistible.
Absolutely. Michael.